Welcome back, Spokane, to another episode of Ever Real Talks. I am one of your hosts, Matt Side, and I am with Jessica Side.
It's true.
And we have a guest with us today, as you can see if you're watching the video. We have Sharla Jones from Greenstone, and we're really excited to have a conversation with Sharla about Greenstone and all that's going on.
Hi, Sharla.
Hey, guys.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent. Yeah, we have, those of you who have followed us a little bit, we've done a lot of Matt and I talking, and it's fun for us to bring in some people from our community to be able to expand on our knowledge, and is great to have you here because Greenstone really has become a big part of the Spokane community. And so we're going to get into that. We're actually going to talk to Sharla for the next 2 weeks. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, Greenstone very much, at least when I think of companies that are a part of Spokane and yet have just had notoriety throughout the state of Washington, especially, Greenstone is one of those that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And do you want to?
I want to say one thing.
Okay.
When we got on, so we obviously started this video thing before we started recording, and Sharla looked at Matt and she said, "So during COVID, you became a hippie?" And I was like, "Yes, Matt became a hippie."
Not quite,
he can
not
kind of
quite
put
long
it
enough in a ponytail. I don't know.
He can do it. He can pull it off.
My
barely.
Youngest son absolutely wants to disown me when I put my hair back like that.
You need to do the Viking where you do that and then shave all the under. And so
don't give him ideas, Sharla, because he's the kind of guy that will be like, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try. So Sharla, before we get into anything else, for those people out there who have, when we say Greenstone, have no idea what we're talking about, can you tell us in a nutshell, what is Greenstone?
Yeah, so Greenstone, we are a local developer and builder. We are from Spokane. We live in the area. Our founders are from here. And the thing that makes Greenstone unique is, for us, we're all about community. So we build incredible homes, but more so we build an incredible community. And that's like in a nutshell, Greenstone.
Love it. I love that. Okay, so now that you've given us a little bit of a nutshell of that, tell us about what do you do at Greenstone? Like, what's your job?
So I am the sales manager here. I've been at Greenstone 5 years now. And what that means, what I do, I'm in charge of our sales team. We have some in-house and some outside list agents. And then I'm the person who's working with all the other departments talking about, in this community, we need more lots that are this size, or what home plan should we make, and what alterations do we need, those kinds of things.
Yeah. And when you say that you're a sales manager and that these are the things that you do, I'm assuming just based on life that it probably bleeds into you probably have your hands in like every part of the business. Is that right?
Yes. Some days I'm a marketing person. Other days I'm out in the field with people digging holes or shooting grade. I mean, yes. Different thing.
I love that. That's fantastic.
Are you still the person that signs off on offers? At one point, and maybe that's still the case.
Still,
you buy a Greenstone home, that's whose signature is on the line.
Right there, Sharla Jones.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, obviously, as we were prepping for this conversation with you, we do our research, and limited as it may be, but one of the things that has stood out to me, actually, I first became aware of Greenstone in Liberty Lake. And I don't know if that's the first one or not, and we can talk about that later, because we're going to talk about the history of Greenstone next week. I said I want to hold that for next week. But I am kind of curious about that relationship between apartments and residential, because it seems like that relationship is truly a thing. So,
okay. But before we get into that, though, I want to talk a little bit about Sharla. We know what her role is. So hold your answer to that.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about you, Sharla, your history, where you're from. I know some of these answers because we've done coffee before, but Jessica doesn't.
I don't.
And so
this is my curious face.
Who is Sharla Jones and where are you from?
Okay, so I am from Elmira, which is a town of 300 people. I was born and raised there. My dad's a farmer. My mom's a nurse. And it's small, and It's 90 miles west of Spokane on Highway 2, and you'll run into Elmira.
Okay.
Shout out to any Warriors, ACH. So
Elmira Cooley Heartline. That's their
Yes.
basketball and football teams and stuff.
Our high school. Yeah. 3 towns to make one school, folks. That's an idea of how tiny we are. So I'm from there. I moved to Spokane to go to Whitworth, and going to Whitworth, everyone else who went there that was from Spokane, like, couldn't wait to get out of Spokane. And I thought, wow, this is a big major city. And so I graduated and I stayed here. And then, gosh, 8 years after that, I met my husband, and he's a Spokane native. And so I'll live here forever now. And it's
There
awesome.
you are.
And I love it. Yeah.
I think that someone in my family had a store in Elmira, like, long time ago. Like, I want to say like my grandmother's sibling or something along those lines. I'm going to have to ask my dad. I always hear Elmira and like playing cards in Elmira. Anyway, there you go.
And there's little towns all around it. So it could have been they lived in Wilbur and they came to Elmira, like, yeah.
How far is Elmira from Odessa? Because I know we have,
Yeah.
like, that's where my family's from.
Yeah. My mom and my grandparents, my aunt and uncle all live in Odessa still.
Okay.
And that Elmira to Odessa is 42 minutes.
Okay. So it's a slow ways.
Yeah.
So for sure your relatives know each other.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So
Our relatives do. I can't remember it now. There was a connection maybe with my Aunt Sue or something.
Yeah, your Aunt Sue and my mom went to high school together. And when I told my mom that I had coffee with you, she knew exactly who you were. And yeah.
That is just amazing.
So my mom is one of the most faithful listeners to this on the radio.
Yes.
So she will probably hear this conversation. And so who is your mom? So she can.
Robin Jasmine.
All right. So Mom, if you're listening to this, it's Robin Jasmine. All right. Now on to your other question.
Okay. I love it. Okay. So the relationship, because I don't see this everywhere. You see a lot of developments, but you don't necessarily see developments that, for me, I think they start with apartments and then they move to, and then they start doing residential. Talk to me about that relationship. Where did it start? All those things.
So where it started, I don't know which community was our first community where we built apartments within the neighborhood, but there's, it could have been Coeur d'Alene Place, because we had an apartment community there that we built that we used to own so we have Greenstone. We also have Rockwood Property Management, and Rockwood Property Management is common ownership with Greenstone, but it's not all the same. So, but we operate out of the same building, and we're all in the same sort of conversations. So that's like, those are our companies. But the reason we want apartments in our communities is for social and economic diversity. That's what makes our community, that's what we believe in a community. We want diversity, both of the socio and economic. Like that's what makes a strong community fabric, is people from all different walks of life. And so to lower sometimes the barrier of entry into a community, if you have apartments, they're already in the neighborhood, they make connections, they have the same access to all the resources we're building in the community, and therefore they long-term may want to stay here. And that's kind of why we have apartments in our communities. And then sort of the next step from there is we try to build small homes, townhomes or cottages. So there's a first-time buyer product in that same neighborhood. So if you're coming out of the apartment world, hopefully there's something that is within your budget to be able to live there.
Yeah. Well, I know that there's, I'm thinking of the Indian Trail community out there, and they've got those 1-story little, I want to call them cottages.
That's what we call them.
Oh man, those are amazing. So it's just like, and it's all, there's all common ground. So it's, that area is being taken care of, the lawn and stuff like that. So it seems like that's a great downsizing option for a lot of people because of the way it's situated. It feels like a little community. In other words, going from stoop to stoop is really easy. There's all those front yard without the fences. Oh, I think those are brilliant.
Thanks. Yeah, that's a very popular product for people who are downsizing, but as well for people who aren't in a relationship. So they're not married, or they're not living or cohabitating with someone. They want the space of a home, but they don't want all the maintenance and upkeep of it. So
it's a really, really great product, I think.
Talk to me. So, and this could be one of those like urban legends. So if it's not even real, that's fine too. I thought I remembered at one point that like there was an opportunity for someone who leased a property within a Greenstone community that they could
have part of their rent.
Part of their rent go toward down payment or something like that, or like it was like it was putting them on a path of home ownership. Is that true?
That is true. And that program has changed a lot over the years, but that is called our home buyer program. And we offer it to anybody that lives in a Rockwood property management owned community. And what it does is you have to live there for over a year, and we will contribute. So your rent doesn't go to it. It's just us contributing. So every month that you live there up to 36 months, we'll put $100 under your name so that if you want to buy a Greenstone home, you could have a $3,600 credit, and
wow,
you can use that towards your down payment or upgrades in the design studio. But yeah, that is something that we do.
You know, it's interesting because you said the relationship between apartment and residential, right? I want to kind of come back to that because you said something that was really interesting to me, social and economic diversity. And, you know, I love the fact that as a company, you can figure out a way to make it make financial sense for you. Because, I mean, let's talk about it. By giving $3,600 to somebody as a down payment, right? It's a good business decision for you because it means the more likely that they're going to buy one of your places rather than going to, you know, a place down the street. So it's a great, but it's also, it's building that community. It's building, you know, it's helping those people. So it seems like in business, you striking a balance between your own business success and doing something like having social and economic diversity. What a cool thing to be able to marry those two things together.
That is like the heart and the most important thing for Greenstone, and for particular Jim Frank, who is our founder. You know, his slogan is everyone deserves to live in a good neighborhood, and he lives and breathes that. And that's part of where that comes into play. And then, you know, sure, it does help someone want to build a new home, but we want people that are established in the community to want to still live there. That they've had such a great experience renting, that it's within a community where, you know, your kids go to school there, they've made connections or whatever, that now you want to stay there. You want to invest back in the community. You want a piece of it for yourself. So it is really cool, and it's neat to be a part of. And it does the opposite too. So, you know, currently I'm sitting in my home. This is my home and office. Sorry.
This is our home office too, baby.
It's our dining room table.
Okay, honestly, that's normally where I sit at the dining room table, but I made my husband get out of the office so I could be in here. So this is a giant home. And when we're old, I don't want to live in this thing. I'd rather go rent an apartment where it's tiny and compact, and someone else, you know, if my water heater goes out, they take care of it. And so there's the opposite end of life in that whole apartments within your community thing as well. It works both directions.
Yeah, absolutely. And having the diversity, like those cottages, right? The townhouses, the cottages, the larger homes, the apartments. And then you can go, you don't have to choose between your friends and where you want to live, you know, in those different stages of life. I love that very, very much. Yeah. Okay. We want to talk to you you guys have a lot of developments. Like if you look at the map, you guys are kind of everywhere, including Idaho. But we want to focus in on a couple of them right now. We'd like to talk about 29th. Mm-hmm. So that is a project that I know you've been working on for a long time. Let's just talk about, where is it? When I say 29th, that's a very long street. So let's talk about where exactly it is.
And what it's called, because I'm sure it's not called 29th.
Probably not.
It is called Garden District. So Garden District is the name of that community. Garden District is 29th and Southeast Boulevard.
Yes.
That I'm second guessing myself.
Okay. No, you're right.
That's right. Southeast Boulevard. Because I live off of a boulevard and sometimes I interchange the name. So
it's all right.
East Boulevard. Yeah. So yes, I mean, we announced this project 2 years ago. Boy, that is crazy to say. 2 years ago. And a year ago, we said that we'd have homes for sale. If you've driven by there recently, there are not homes for sale. We don't even have paving in yet. So there's, you know, we've had a lot of people, you know, somebody called and told me that we'd gone bankrupt and that's why we weren't doing anything. And that wasn't true. And I've had people call me and tell me that we had found out that it was an ancient Indian burial ground, and that also was not true.
Okay.
So, now all the rumors out there, none of them are true. What happened is, one, COVID. So when everything had to shut down, we had to determine for Greenstone, what is the priority of projects? And honestly, Garden District went to the bottom of that, because we had other communities where, quite frankly, people who work for us in terms of builders and vendors, they needed us to build homes so that they could support themselves. You know what I mean? So we focused more on getting those communities finished and ready, and Garden District went to the bottom. And so then when we got all ready, we got back into Garden District, they went to dig some utility trenches, and there was existing water line in the neighborhood. Only originally it had shown that it was at the correct depth. And when we went in and started digging, it was a foot off the ground. Well, that is not the correct depth for a water line.
No, it is not.
Whoa.
So then, the whole cycle starts over. You're back down at the city, resubmitting plans, new permits, and that was a major redo. So that's kind of why it did this so long and how we ended up here. But Garden District, it's 25 acres. It's an infill project for us. It's going to be.
All right, wait.
Oh.
Infill. I like to educate, because not everybody knows what infill means. So explain that, and give me what would be not an infill project. So
not an infill project would be to go out on the edge of a city, and there's raw land, farmland, empty land, and you build there.
Okay.
That's like what I would call like building onto something. An infill is you're going into the middle of something that's already developed. So the city of Spokane is developed. We're going to the middle of it, and there's a project, and we will infill. We'll fill in.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 25 acres. There will only be 31 homes, single family homes. But there's a multifamily component to this. There's 79 multifamily units, and that's just in phase one. And then in phase two, we'll have a few more multifamily units, as well as a small commercial area. So it'll be, kind of a mini Kendall Yards. I hate to say that because this community will stand on its own. But
yes,
that is,
it's a good
just as a
way
point
to
of
kind
reference,
of,
though.
yeah. So
you love Kendall Yard, so that's okay.
It's so cool. And there were some challenges with this project, just in terms of NIMBYism, which is like not in my backyard, where people within the neighborhood were really frustrated that we would turn in basically their dog park into the neighborhood. And I think that even with a reputation like Greenstone, we have a great reputation for building a quality community, that there's still fear there when it's like, this is beautiful, and what are you going to do to it? So
sure.
There was a lot of combating against that, but I think that most neighbors at this point have decided that it's a benefit to them, and a few of them actually want to buy homes. So it all is going to work out.
It's an interesting thing, because I think that we have found, there is this push and pull in us as well, right? Because yes, you want to have progress in your city. You want to have prices go up. You want appreciation, but you also know that there are sacrifices that are made when your city grows. And, there's pain on either side of that. There's pain for all the people, all the buyers out there that are not getting houses right now, right? And then there's the pain of which means we got to change in some way, or those people have to leave,
Right.
And so it's a really interesting dynamic. And I'm sure that you guys, struggle with this as well, just between the professional side and that personal side. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's interesting, because I feel that in my own heart.
I mean, for those people that lived in that area for so long, I mean, that was a forested natural area that they loved. Like that's part of why they chose to live there, perhaps even.
Yeah.
So I get that there's an overcoming of that. Mm-hmm. Was there anything that you guys specifically, or that you felt like you did that helped overcome that? Or was it just time and continued messaging from the beginning?
I think a little of that, but also, people were thinking there was going to be 200 homes in there. You know what I mean? So reality versus perception. That was part of it. And then, there are some natural areas we're going to leave, because that's one of the things for Greenstone. We get asked a lot, how many acres do you need to do a project? And we don't look so much at size, it's to do the right project. because we care more about having trails and walking paths and open space and parks and other things. And so to be a good use and mix in there and to be able to show, hey, here's the plan. See all this is open area. No, you're not going to have 500 homes behind you. That kind of brought people back to reality.
Yeah, that's good.
And some people at first, because, so this is the other thing people get confused by. If you do a deal with Greenstone, on the contract, it doesn't say Greenstone. Like we have builder names that we use that sells the home. Anyways, and so when we were first presenting this, because it's under a different LLC name, I think people couldn't make the correlation that it's going to be a Greenstone community. So,
right.
Sure.
Yeah. So can I ask you why you guys, I'm sure that you have reasons for naming like Garden District. What is that?
Okay. So if you go back to the original plat for that area, and I can't remember the years, but it's like before 1930. I know that much. And it was called Garden District.
Really?
And so we try to name all of our communities something that ties into the history or the significance of the place. Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
This is Garden District because many years ago, that's what they wanted to call it.
That's cool.
That's really cool. Okay.
So if you have more to say about 29th, feel free to say it. But here's my question. You said, we always want to be building a quality community. And I want to talk because I went to your website and I see that community is in there. You don't call it developments. They're all called communities. You just said you want to build a quality community. And when you talk about that, you mean we're not just doing houses or we're not just doing apartment building or whatever. You're doing other things like parks and trails and things like that. So can you help us understand what community means to you and to Greenstone?
Yes. So, we have a couple of core like principles when we're looking at land or when we're developing a community that if we can't achieve these things, it's not the right fit for us. So, we want to know, one, can we get product diversity? We don't want to just build $400,000 homes in one neighborhood. We need both ends of that. So some higher, some lower, so that you can get that difference in socioeconomic. And part of being able to achieve that is the neighborhood around you. So, we're looking at all those things, but the things we really value, trees. Every home we build has 2 street trees in front of it. So every community of ours you drive through, you have all this beautiful street trees around you. I'm pointing because I live in one. So we believe in sidewalks. I came from a neighborhood where there were no sidewalks, and I can't explain what a life-changing difference it is to have a sidewalk that also connects into a trail system that you can get out and walk around. The other thing you'll notice about our homes in our newer communities is they all have front porches. There's a big push within Greenstone to get people out front to get to know your neighbors, because that's also what's going to strengthen your community is knowing one another.
Yes. In
a crisis, you shouldn't have to pound on the door and go, I've never met you, but hey, I need something. So,
because, sorry, I was just going to say, because it's the new houses, you go into your garage, you go into your house, and you literally can never, and you don't go into your backyard, back into your car, off you go. And you really don't meet your neighbors. And we don't have a garage, so we tend to talk to our neighbors probably every day. Somebody is talking to us, or we're talking to them.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep. So you need product diversity, you need street trees, you need trails. That's for us what define community. And then we believe in parks or open spaces, because you have all these nice streets or all these nice sidewalks, they need to go somewhere. So to collectors, whether that's just a green space with a few benches or it's a full-blown park with play structure and all of that.
That's fantastic. I love that. Do you have something? I'm sorry. Okay. The other thing that you talked about on your website was high performance. Like, you call your homes high performance. What does that mean? So, why is that important?
Yeah. So high performance homes is what we build. It's included in our standard features. And so, like, this is all builder jargon. But standards are the way your home will be built if you didn't change anything. And, you're going to find other builders who have higher, fancier finishes as a standard, but we have different behind the walls things or high performance home things that are better. So that's like kind of the gist of it. But the high performance home for us, some things we do differently than some builders. And a lot of this, so we've been building high performance homes for over a year, 2 years. COVID kind of messes with my brain in terms of years. Like I feel like
it's like you skip a whole year, right? A year ago, is 2019. So it's fine.
Yeah. So for 2 years, we've been building high performance homes. But so we're solar. We're an earlier solar adapter. So every home has 8 panels standard in it. We are energy efficient water heaters. We put in an ERV, which is an energy recovery ventilator. It's like the lungs for your house. We're building such a tight building envelope because we're sealing all of our air exposure points that we have to put this machine into your HVAC that's constantly drawing in new air. Otherwise, you would be unhealthy because you wouldn't have fresh air in your home because there's no leak. There's a lot more. Go to our website, but that's like the gist of it. The other thing with high performance homes, our long-term, we've already built 6 net zero homes. And we are our cottage series, which are those cute homes with the fences and the garage in the back. Mm-hmm. All of them are zero energy ready homes, ZER homes. So we build those at a different level than our standard homes. Because a long-term goal for Greenstone is that we could build, our largest home is 3,600 square feet, that we could build that at a ZER level so that it could be zero energy ready, meaning you add on 15 more solar panels and you're at net zero.
Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like, when we talk about Greenstone's history in our next episode, in the part 2 of this, I'm holding all of these questions.
I know we've got a lot of questions.
What the whys behind this? Like, what were the drivers? And so we'll table those for now.
Yes.
So that's good. Did you have one other question before we kind of wrap up this?
No, I don't have any other questions. I just want to let people know, please come back next week because we are going to ask her more questions. We're going to talk about the mead development that's just taking over the old Kaiser plant. There's just a lot of really interesting stuff that we're going to continue to talk to Sharla about. So real
quick though, as we wrap, what's the best way if somebody wants a Greenstone home? I know that most of your stuff is listed on the MLS. Is that the easiest way for people to just talk with their real estate professional, come to your show homes? What is it?
Contact our on-site agents. That's the best way. We do list, but honestly, pre-sale homes, we don't. So you need to talk to an on-site agent, go to our website. We post everything that's going to be a pre-sale on our website. And info@greenstonehomes.com comes directly to me. So there's your choices.
Oh, perfect. Now you're in trouble. Your inbox is exploded.
And then you can always give us a call and we can help you get in touch with Sharla as well. Our information, 509-62-HOUSE, everreal.com. Find us on Facebook, all those things. And
with that, we will see you all next week, Spokane. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.
Bye.